Hi, this is Joe again with another movie review, and in this video I want to do the 1970, maybe 71 and 72 film, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Well, I know there was a remake. If I have time, I want to get to the Tim Burton Giant Depp remake, but I'm also going to mostly spend the time discussing the original film. So of course, Gene Wilder. And of course, this is based on the Ronald Dahl novel titled Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. And the reason why the title was changed from Charlie in the Chocolate Factory to Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory for the movie version, because of the fact that when the movie came out in 1971, we were still in the height of the Vietnam War at that time, and Charlie, or the name Charlie, was used to describe the Viet Cong. We have Charlie in this area, or in this area, we're following Charlie. Charlie attacked us, and all that stuff. And Charlie was a divisive term to describe the Vietnamese and the Viet Cong, which the U.S. military was fighting. So instead of having the Charlie in the title of a movie that's supposed to be, for kids, they changed it to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, but it's still the same story. Like I said, so is Gene Wilder in the musical, which Gene Wilder is not, it's not a musical story, but he did a fine job singing in this film, and they took the story and made a musical out of it. And of course, this musical is famous for having two of the best songs that ever came down the pike. For the 70s, of course, one of them was made famous, even more famous, but by Sammy Davis Jr., the late great Sammy Davis. God love him. I'm still a fan, even though Sammy Davis Jr. has been dead for over almost 25 years now. But I'm still a fan of his, and of course the song that he made famous was he was given the song with the two songwriters, Leslie Brigger and Leslie Neiman. Of course, the Candyman song, and of course that was like the first real song that was sung in the film, and originally they were going to get Sammy Davis Jr. in the movie to sing that song at the candy store owner, I guess, because he was the one who actually performed the song in the film. I forgot what the actor was, but he sang the song, the Candyman song in the film. But unfortunately, we couldn't get Sammy Davis Jr. for some reason. But he made that song famous, and that song was from the movie Willy Wonka. Of course, for those of you, and the other song was Pure Imagination, which was sung by Gene Wilder later on in the film when you first go into the candy factory. Well, those of you who don't know the story, I don't know why I'm going over the story, but those of you who don't know the story, like I said earlier, this is based on the Ronald Dahl story, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which is really focused on the two characters, Charlie Bucket. I don't know where they got these last names from, and Willy Wonka. It's really from their stories. And Charlie Bucket is supposed to be either in London or in Germany. I think it was filmed in Germany, but it was filmed in supposed to be based something in England. And Charlie's supposed to be like this poor kid, this poor part of town, and Willy Wonka, who was this famous and reclusive candy maker, came out with this contest with this new candy called a Wonka bar, kind of like a Hershey bar. And of course, and then he was running a contest, and you're only going to have like 5 of these so-called golden tickets, and if you happen to get one, you will get a free tour of the candy factory. Plus, you also get a lifetime supply of candy as well. So 5 boards, and actually the whole world's going crazy trying to get these golden tickets. and Charlie was got the last one. But the other there were four other kids, and they were all modern kids. I mean, it was like beyond modern. You had this one kid who was like the Walker's Salt. Like I said, I didn't want to get these names. One adult came up with the last names for these kids, who was like a spoiled little brat. You also had another girl named Walker, who was like, I think it was a spoiled kid's name. There was another kid who was another little girl who was there, who was constantly like to chew gum all the time. It was kind of annoying. And of course, he had this one kid who was like addicted to television, called Mike TV. That was the kid's last name. And you had this other kid who was constantly eating, and a little fat kid. And of course, then you had you also had Charlie. So, but unfortunately, throughout the film, you had, and of course, the controversy for the original film, because it was also brought up, not so much brought up in the remake, but it was at the time when the original film was brought up that this movie was mean to kids. And it was in a way you can understand why they would make that comment, because it was kind of mean to kids, because of the way the kids are treated. Because each one of the spoiled modern kids, they all got into some kind of disaster in the factory and almost killed in a way. But unlike in the remake, in the original film, you never knew what happened to these kids. Like for example, when you go into the factory, and when you first, it's like more than halfway through the movie where you finally see Gene Wilder as Willy Wonka. And of course, in the factory, you never knew who worked in the factory. And then of course you see the Oompa Loompas, which is, and unlike in the remake, where they used one guy as the Oompa Loompas, and they used CGI for all the faces of all the Oompa Loompa characters, in this movie they use all midgets. In the midgets are kids as the Oompa Loompas in the original film. Then what they did was they come out with a song, where they did an Oompa Loompa song for each one, after each one of the kids had little disasters. And the first one was when after Gene Wilder sang Pure Imagination, or the Pure Imagination song, they were eating in, I think, Augustus. Yeah, Augustus Gloop, that was the first kid that met disaster, was in this river, this chocolate river. And he was sucking up the candy, drinking from the this chocolate river. And Willy Wonka says, "Hey, look, anyone in the chocolate being touched by human hands, don't stop it, don't do it." And then the kid falls into the river, gets sucked up into the tube, and says, and of course Willy Wonka wasn't sure exactly where it was going to go, but I think he really knew where it was going. But didn't want to freak anybody out, and was, "Oh my God, my kid's stuck in the tube." So there was one kid that went that way, and there was another kid the kid that had chewing gum turned into a blueberry, because she had a gum that it had like a 5-course meal in it. Of course, the dessert was like a blueberry pie, and of course she turned into a giant blueberry. Then I happened to her. Then you had this another kid, a spoiled brat kid. She went to all the she always whining, "Give me it says to her father, "Give me an Oompa Loompa. I want an Oompa Loompa now." Whining with that British accent. But then she went to this room where you have this golden eggs. But the goose that laid the golden egg, they put that into the story, and she did a whole song about that she wants stuff now, and she won't be satisfied that she has it now. And then she stood on this egg indicator, which indicates if it's a good egg or a bad egg. And of course, as soon as she sat on it, that she was a bad egg, and she went down to shoot into a furnace. And her father drove in after her. And of course, the last kid, the fourth kid, the Mike TV kid, transferred into the TV, or swung a huge giant candy bar into a TV, like from a huge, like almost like a twin bed size candy bar into a normal TV size candy bar, like so big. So the kid says, "Oh, can you do that with people?" I said, "Well, I don't know. We never tried it." So the kid says, "Oh, let me try it." I mean, the first actual person in television, and the kid turns out to be like this big, and they know if they could fix this kid or not. And then, of course, it turns out the last kid happened to be Charlie, when the last kid left. And what happened early in the film, when I crossed over, there was one particular part of the film where you have fizzle lifting drinks, like the gas in the soda. This Charlie and his grandpa Joe, almost up to the ceiling. And of course, they burped their way down. Of course, there was an episode of Family Guy who did the same thing, but instead of burping, they were farting or passing gas on the way down. For some reason, at the time, Charlie and Grandpa Joe didn't get caught by Willy Wonka or anything because everybody left the room. All the other kids and Wonka left the room, so they drank the fizzle lifting drinks, and they found out that Willy Wonka later on found out about it and didn't told Charlie, to look, now you're not going to get anything because you broke the rules. You had the two drinks and you broke the rules. And of course, what was one of the subplots in this film was that all the kids were bribed by Willy Wonka's competitor, Slugworth. Said, "Hey, look, I want you to give me this particular piece of candy, and if you get it for me, you can figure out how Wonka made it, and I could make my own, my own cloud stopper," I believe it was called. And so Grandpa told him, man, said, "Okay, since you're going to stiff us, since you're stiffing Charlie, you get his hopes up and you hurt him like that. Okay, well, human monster are you?" And so look, if Slugworth wants a cloud stopper, he's going to get one. Let's go, Charlie. So what Charlie does is all the kids had a cloud stopper. And what Charlie did was he gave the cloud stopper back to Willy Wonka. And of course, Wonka says a rare deed in a weary world, or something like that. He says, "Charlie, you passed the test." He said, "I'm sorry you did like that, but I knew." For some reason, I guess he knew the story from the newspapers, and he said, "I'm sorry that I have to put you through all that, but I knew that you were the one kid that I wanted to win this contest." He says, what do you mean? You mean that's the chocolate? Not only the chocolate, but something else. He says, what do you mean? He told him that he wanted to leave this entire factory to you, or to Charlie. And Charlie goes, "Why me?" And he said, "Well, because I need an honest, loving child to do this. I know I can't go on forever, and I don't have any kids of my own. So that's why I did this bit with the golden tickets." He said, that's why you did it?" I said, "Yeah, because I need a kid to run the factory." And of course, when Walker says the famous line, "You know what happened to the man who got everything he wanted in life? What? He lived to be happily ever after." And that's how the original film ends. Well, several years later, over 30 years later, they made a remake. But Tim Burton made a remake with Johnny Depp as the role of Willy Wonka. And the remake, they went back to the original title of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And of course, at the time that this the remake came out, Michael Jackson was on trial for molesting a kid named Gavin. And the way Johnny Depp played the part, he's acted like Michael Jackson. and he spoke in a similar type of annoying of a voice like Michael Jackson had when he spoke in a famous interview with Warren Bashir that got him in trouble. So that was the controversy from that movie, because he acted too much like Michael Jackson when Johnny Depp did. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but he acted like Michael Jackson in that film with all the kids. But at least in the remake, you saw what actually physically happened to those kids. In the original, you didn't know what happened to them. It was like a mystery what happened to the other kids. And I think at one point in the original film, Troy does ask Wonka, or Willy Wonka, what's going to happen to all those kids. And Willy Wonka says to him, "Oh, Charlie, they'll be alright, Charlie, but now those spoiled rotten kids will now going to be better, hopefully be better people for what they did here in the factory." And so the kids getting knew what was going to happen with those kids, and the kids were going to actually be alright. And everything was a setup for Charlie to inherit the factory, I guess. Same thing with the original film, but in the remake, they have all this backstory with Willy Wonka. What was great about the original version is that Willy Wonka was more of a mysterious figure than in the remake. In the remake, there was no real all that much of a mystery about him. In the remake, which kind of takes away the mysterious factor that was so great about in the first film. But to me, if I had a choice between the two versions, I prefer the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory with Gene Wilder, because it was great in the role. There's no real homosexual overtones in it, unlike in the remake. And of course, there was remarks by Johnny Depp making fun of Charlie's grandparents. Because in both versions, you have Charlie's grandparents, both sets of grandparents actually, or all four of them were like bedmen in the house, and a little shack they were living in. But Johnny Depp was making a comment like, "You smell like pee." One remark he had, which totally turned me off of the remake. But it was kind of interesting and fun. Interesting that they did kind of put in the backstory in the remake of Charlie Chocolate Factory. But unfortunately, it takes away the mystery. Like I said earlier, it takes away the mysterious factor in it. But in terms of the two versions, the original version is way much better. And if you want to watch a version, what of Charlie Chocolate Factory, watch the original 1971 version. And of course, you always want to know whatever happened to the kids, and that's why I did like the part when they put in what happened to them. But like I said earlier, it kind of ruins the mystique, trying to figure out what happened to those kids in the original remake. So that's my review of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Please click on the review. Please rate it. Feel free to comment on it. Please subscribe to my channel, and please forward this video onto your Facebook pages. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time. And please watch my other videos as well. Catch you next time.